Welcome to the Long Strange Trip. I'm Josh, the host of the show. We're going to dig into 6 areas together, finding real work-life integration instead of that brutal 95-5 split too many business owners live with. We're going to approach retirement as an actual reinvention rather than just stopping work. And we're facing death honestly and avoiding PTSD around it. We're also building resilience when life throws us curveballs. We're sharing wisdom across generations. And finally, we're understanding the patterns that show up in all our transitions. I'm not coming at this as an expert. I'm a fellow traveler, figuring this stuff out in real time, especially now as I navigate my own dual cancer diagnosis at 73. Welcome to the Long Strange Trip. I'm glad you're here. Hey, how are you today? This is Josh Patrick, and you're at the Long Strange Trip podcast. And today we're joined by, somebody I've known for, I don't know how many years I've known Troy, but for a lot of years. And he's the CEO and owner, or I don't know if he's still the CEO. Are you still the CEO, Troy?
No, I'm not.
Okay, so he's not the CEO.
I'm the founder
of Access Financial Resources, but he is the founder of it. And we're going to start off talking about Troy's business and what is different about it. And there's a bunch different. So let's bring Troy on and we'll start the conversation. Hey,
all
Troy,
right.
How are you today?
Doing all right, Josh. Thank you.
That's good. That's good. So when you started your business, it appears that you had some different goals in mind than the average business person. Can you talk a little bit about that?
I'm going to say early on, goals were probably just to, not die of starvation, because that's pretty much what it was early on. Because what I say is, as I was a 19-year overnight success.
Right. Well, that's true with most businesses, but
yeah. So I really just got recruited to a company to do financial planning, is what they actually talked about. And I was intrigued by that story. And at the time I was working at Blue Cross and Blue Shield, my first job outside of skateboards. But it was a good job at the time, but it was, you sold something and then turned it over to somebody else, and then you went on to get to the next sale. And I was more interested in developing deep, meaningful, long-term relationships over a long period of time. So
how did you manage to move into that world?
Well, I got contacted by someone, basically, I guess you could say more or less a headhunter, recruited, whatever you want to talk about it, to this local Oklahoma agency. They talked about financial planning, and as it turns out, it was an old mutual benefit life agency, but they didn't go by the insurance company name. They went by a firm name. And so I didn't know enough about anything back then to know the difference. So I said, that sounds great. So I jumped in there and went in. It took me 10 years to figure out that they were really in the insurance business. And I wasn't in the insurance business. I was a financial planner. And that I got my CFP in 1986. So that's when that started.
So when you realized that the life insurance company really wasn't interested in financial planning, was that when you went and you opened your own firm?
Yes, that's right. 1991. Yeah.
So let's just start there, because that's probably more useful for the purposes of this conversation. 1991, you formed your wealth management firm. Now you actually had, ideas about how you wanted to treat your clients, and we're not going to really go there today because that's not the purpose of this podcast. But I'm curious on your thought process on how you were going to run the business with you, your family, the community. What was your main thought process?
Well, at that time, what actually occurred at that time, whenever I left the firm I was with, had 2 other people left with me. So we were able to just take we bought all the software. We had, virtually, I think I had one employee at the time, and then those two associates. So it was just figuring out everything that had to be done, office space and everything, all of it, from the ground up in that way. And back then it was a little less automatic on some of these things, but at the end of the day, it was we just did whatever we had to do, including refinishing furniture because we couldn't afford to buy new furniture. So we would buy old used furniture and all that. So we just did what we had to do to get started.
So how many years into your own wealth management firm was it before you could start thinking about how you wanted to treat your employees, how you wanted to treat your coworkers, your co-associates, and how you would like the business run? Because I think that story is actually pretty interesting.
Yeah, so I just from the very beginning, I always had the financial planner's mentality, and that was so. For example, from the very beginning, if you worked for the company, you had to have medical insurance, retirement, medical insurance, disability insurance, and retirement. So, and for a startup company, that's not nothing.
Yeah.
So, because that bill comes every month, just like the electric bill. So, and right now, our little company of a dozen people or so, we're spending over $120,000 a year on medical insurance and associated costs. So
that's a big number.
It is. It's a real number, especially now with the prices what they are.
Yeah.
So, but that was just a matter of just saying, if you're going to work, I don't ever want to have it said that somebody goes to the hospital or got disabled or retired, and where'd you used to work? Where we worked for this financial planner, and you didn't have health insurance, and you didn't have retirement, and you didn't have disability. I mean, I could never be good with that. So that was a beginning. And we actually had a person who tried to talk me out of medical insurance for her. She doesn't work for us anymore, but she.
By the way, that's not a surprise.
Yeah. Well, she then, she did come to work for us for a short period of time. She got medical insurance, and first thing she did, went to the doctor and found out she had breast cancer.
Oh man.
Yeah. So the point is that we just do what we say we do. We do it. We eat our own cooking in that way.
Okay. So how many of your clients have you helped? And I'm changing the topic right now, which I have a bad habit of doing, or something jumps into my mind, whatever that is.
Okay.
How many of your clients have you helped transition from actively working to being retired?
Oh my goodness. Over the years. Wow. So
I mean, I don't need an accurate
I don't know, but it would be dozens.
Okay. So how many of them have made it into retirement, have been happy once they retired?
If they went into retirement happy, which sometimes that's a whole nother question, but I'm going to say that that if there was if happiness was an option for them, and it's not true for everybody, because some people just aren't happy people.
Yeah.
I'm going to say that their retirement was successful, with one exception, who was a truck driver who came in one day, and he was sitting in the conference room, is holding his head up like this, and he said, "Troy,
we have a stable.
Don't ever retire."
You're back again.
Yeah.
Yeah. We're just going to have to edit that piece. That's not going to be a big deal.
Okay.
Well, we have lots of ways of taking podcasts out of you. Jen, we need to go make sure we take out all these free sections and paste them together, please. So Here's my question. Financial planning firms are really good at helping people prepare for retirement financially. What I think they're really bad at is helping them to prepare for retirement emotionally. And here's what I see a lot of times. I've seen it with myself, and I've seen it with people I've been around and my clients over the years, is that they go into retirement and they really don't realize that all those social relationships they had at work will fall off a cliff faster than you can possibly imagine. So how did you help your clients with that sort of thing, Troy?
Well, one of the things that we have done, and we work with a lot of business owner clients, a large focus with the dentists specifically. So one of the things that we would do is that, like right now we have a client who's he is one fussy person in terms of details, and he's got to have something to do. And so, but he was just totally burnt out on running the business, and he had some health problems. And so we had been talking to an associate for several years, and then about buying his business. And then we put together a transition strategy that lasted it was a 10-year transition strategy. It got escalated up to 3 years, but we started the conversation 10 years out. And so that's what we found from that is that gives rather than have an all or nothing kind of cliff of the sale of a practice, it gave the buyer and the seller a more steady glide path. And on larger practices, that works really good because oftentimes there's room for two doctors in the facility, if nothing else. So, and that's done in larger practices more commonly than smaller ones. But what has occurred now is this guy, in this case it's a guy, and a guy seller, a female buyer, he gets to stay as long as he basically wants to and can continue to provide value to the world. So he can kind of pick and choose his times, and his the buyer of the practice is super happy with that because he's making the payment for her.
Sure.
So it's awesome in that respect. That's one example. So we just stretch it out over a longer period of time rather than have it I worked on Friday and now I'm retired on Monday.
So my concern is someday that cliff is going to come. No matter what you want to say. I mean, when I wound down my business, I went from having, I don't know how many clients, 50 clients, 30 clients, 10 clients. Then eventually the day came where I had no clients. And now I was retired. And who am I at that point is a question I like to ask. And I think that's probably a big question for your clients that own businesses, because business owners really have a tough time with the who am I question once they retire. Do you ever come across that stuff?
Yeah. It's all along the whole period of time. What we keep as a lively part of the conversation is, what are you retiring to?
Right.
Because this retiring thing, just to say, oh, I'm going to just go, kick back and relax. That I don't know that many people who are really doing that. Most people are doing some variation of what I'm saying.
In my experience, this is a bigger problem for men than women. Men tend to have a smaller social circle than women do.
Yeah, I would say that may be the case.
Oops, you're froze again.
Just different issues. Yeah, different issues. Maybe it's less identity and more security.
Yeah. So we'll switch gears once again, because that's what I do. You were involved in a study group, or probably still are involved in a study group. And while we were doing our pre-interview, I was asking you, where did you gain your wisdom? Because you're a pretty wise guy.
Yeah, as I've been told that.
Excuse me. I'm not talking about being a wise guy. I'm talking about somebody who has wisdom.
Oh, okay.
Just in case you were confused.
Okay. Well, I was for a minute.
Okay. Well, hopefully not now. So, can you tell us a little bit about that group and how it's affected your life?
Yeah. When we were talking the other day, I took the liberty of thinking about, this wisdom thing. And I drew a Venn diagram, that kind of, and I've been trying to, uh, and probably somebody's already done this, but I haven't seen it. And that is the Venn diagram is knowledge, experience, and openness to learning.
Mm-hmm.
And where those intersect, that's where wisdom comes for me. And so, knowledge and experience was this group early on that I got involved in. That was as a result of other groups that I had gotten involved in. Nasrudin being one, and 7 Stages of Money Maturity being one. And it was FDA, Nasrudin, and then 7 Stages.
And these are all wealth management. These are all wealth management based organizations.
Yes, right. Financial Planning Association, and on down from there. So,
Yeah.
but what I did is that's the openness to learning side of it. Is that I've just always been willing to say yes to these new opportunities that where the smallest group, which is the one you're referring to, we just got together once a year and went somewhere for a few days and just went deep. And with the kind of people who had the capacity to go deep, and we did that for, I don't know, maybe let's just say, I'm going to just say 10 years. I don't remember exactly. But whenever it was over, it was just over. Just sort of like, I'm going to say, died a natural death, and we just didn't do it again. But oh my goodness, the stuff that we were able to cover, and the focus on the deep subjects, and the application of tools and processes it was just phenomenal. So
Can you give me an example of something you guys talked about that wasn't the hard side of financial planning, but was the soft side?
well, I can tell you one example for that I think of often, and that is, we were sitting in Denver in an office building, and we were, for whatever reason, that's where we were having our meetings that day, which is unusual for us because normally we're somewhere different. And it was myself, Gail Coleman, David Brand, and Marcy Yeager. We're sitting in a room, and we're just thinking about all the different things. Basically, the goal was to help save the world. I mean, I know this sounds stupid, but that's really what we were doing. We were wanting to do anything we could do. What could we do to help improve the world condition? And we were just all locked up on some issue, and Gail Coleman suggested a Hendricks Foundation technique called creative joint play. And so we literally all get up and we start wiggling and dancing and moving around and all that stuff. And then we sat down and nailed the summary of the session that we were trying to do, and then went back in for the rest of the group. So
Cool.
that's an example of a sticky wicket that we were able to just wiggle our way out of by applying a known practice. So
you had to be okay with looking a little bit silly.
that would be the openness to learning. Yes,
Right.
that would be it. But It's like they say, if you don't eat any more than the person you're eating with, then you don't have to count those calories. So
Yeah, in my experience, people who have developed a significant amount of wisdom tend to be really curious. And they aren't curious for like a week, they're curious for their entire life.
yeah, yeah, that's it. That would be my thing. But it's about applying practices. So, for example, I don't know, 20 years ago, I started brushing my teeth right-handed in the morning, left-handed at night.
Oh, interesting.
And I'm pretty much telling you now, I'm ambidextrous.
Mm-hmm.
I then had to have shoulder surgery on my right side. I could literally write left-handed.
That's good.
I use my mouse left-handed, and I have for years.
Mm-hmm.
I have 3 left-handed associates. They all use the mouse right-handed. But
But you count me as 4, but I also do a lot of stuff with my left hand. So I consider myself ambidextrous strange.
well, it's things like that that I think when you take all just the daily practices. Somebody I was talking to recently said, "Well, what do you think?" It was a young person. I said, "What would you say would be the one thing that has benefited you the most?" And I'm going to say it's whatever I've done is to do something that is taking you up, and keep doing it a little bit every day, like playing the guitar, like meditation, like yoga. These are the things I've been doing. Now, playing the guitar, I'm really been doing that for the last 5 years or so.
Yeah.
Singing and playing the guitar, have been doing that a little bit every day. But I'm getting to where I know what I'm doing now.
Yeah.
Juggling. I learned how to juggle here in the last few years. A brother-in-law taught me how to juggle. He's a retired CPA.
Oh.
So he taught me how to juggle. And this is what he said. He said, just keep practicing, because at night your hands will figure out where they're supposed to be.
Yeah, he's pretty much right about that, I would think.
It was right for me, because I can juggle now.
Yeah. So those are all things to open up both sides of your brain.
Yeah. Yes.
Brushing your teeth with one hand and then another hand, that's all part of a wisdom conversation. Learning how to juggle, all part of a wisdom conversation, because now you're likely to be willing to engage in conversations you may not have before you were doing that.
I'm sure that's true. My soul sister says I'm one of the best conversationalists that she knows. And that's trustworthy coming from her, because she is phenomenal.
Well, that's one of the best things you can do, at least this is my experience. When I'm trying to learn something, I want to learn how to ask the right questions around that. Because for me, questions are real power.
Mm.
And it's the key to wisdom. Does that make sense to you?
Yeah. Questions open things up, answers close things down.
Yeah.
Yeah. I would say that makes sense to me. And yeah, that's good stuff.
Oh, cool. So, Troy, unfortunately, we have run out of time. And if folks listening might want to get in contact with you, have a conversation, would you be willing to do that?
I would, if somebody wants to. I'm not sure why, but if so, yeah, that'd be great.
Okay. And how would they find you?
Troy at afradvice.com.
Okay. It's Troy at afradvice.com.
Yeah.
Yeah. If you want to talk to Troy, that's the best way to set up a time. And for me, if you have an interest in being on this podcast, So why don't you send me an email? And it's really easy. It's jpatrick@stage2solution.com. And the 2 is the number 2 and solution is singular. So that's jpatrick@stage2solution.com. And you're at the Long Strange Trip podcast with Josh Patrick and Troy Jones. Thanks a lot for stopping by. I hope to see you back here really soon. Thanks for spending this time with me today. I really appreciate you being part of this journey. I'd be grateful if you'd leave an honest rating and review. It helps other people find these conversations, lets me know what's landing with you and what isn't. If you love the show, give us 5 stars. And if you hate it, give it 1 star and I'll just cry a little bit. Keep asking the hard questions. Keep being honest about what's difficult. And remember, we're all just trying to figure this out together. I'll talk to you next time on The Long Strange Trip. Thanks for stopping by.